Satanism can be obvious or hidden under the guise of faithfulness to God, deceiving hundreds of millions of people who are too lazy to think and investigate with critical thinking. Daniel 8 verse 25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Isaiah 28 verse 15, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with Sheol are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Many speak of these prophecies, but almost no one has bothered to denounce the contradictions that exist in the Bible. My case is different. Throughout the videos on my channel, you will see how I debunk many dogmas based on contradictory texts of the Bible. Think about this: if Michael rises against the devil in the time of the end, it is because the devil dominates the world until then. Do you think Satan would allow the Bible to be the official book of one of the dominant religions in the world where he reigns with his deceptions, if that book did not have messages infiltrated by Satan? Thus, many people practice Satanism without knowing it, because of those who practice it knowingly and deceive many into practicing it unknowingly. If prophecy speaks of Satan speaking as God's adversary, it is logical to understand that if God said, "Eye for," Satan says, "Offer the other cheek." But since Satan means the false witness, he gave false testimony of Jesus and falsely accused him of having taught it. Daniel 7 verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. Do you think Satan would limit himself only to speaking words against Jesus? Obviously, Satan also spoke words against Moses and the prophets. That is why there are unjust messages throughout the Bible in conflict with just messages in the Bible. Thus we have these examples: Genesis 4 verse 15, murderer protected from the death penalty; Numbers 35:33, murderer condemned to death; Ezekiel 33 verses 18 to 20, the righteous can become unrighteous, and the unrighteous can become righteous. Against Daniel 12 verse 10, the righteous cannot become unrighteous, and the unrighteous cannot become righteous. Now then, if the unrighteous could truly become righteous, the original message of Jesus would not have been persecuted by anyone, but accepted by everyone. And obviously, this is not limited only to the Bible. There are other dominant religions in the world that consider other books as sacred. If they are dominant religions and Satan was given power over every nation, these religions cannot be free from the deception of the one who dominates the world. Revelation 13 verse 7, and power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. No, we are not talking about political power as many usually say, it is about religious power. If you observe the practices in countries like Peru, every time their rulers take office, they swear before a cross and the Bible. In contrast, the leaders of the Vatican do not swear before the constitution of any country when they are elected. Why do people bow before the image of a skull? If that is not a cult of death, what is it? The mere act of prostrating before an object to render religious worship is already idolatry, and therefore something satanic. If a skull, a serpent, the moon, or the sun are part of the adored figure, there you have it. Satanism continues to demand the worship of the sun, the moon, death and, in short, Satan, the serpent. Furthermore, as part of their ritual, while they sin by worshipping creatures, they confess to being recurring sinners, that is, they affirm that they will continue to sin even at the hour of their death. But God does not want his people to sin until death with the religions of Babylon. That is why the call is, Revelation 18 verse 4, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Babylon is not a single religion. Do not be confused. Babylon is a club of religions whose line of business centers on idolatry and lies. That is why their leaders meet and embrace. That is why they arrange official religions in certain countries and divide the cake among themselves, while telling people the absurdity of following them. All religions present here lead to the same God. But the people who swallow that discourse are so foolish that they do not stop to reason. If these paths with mutually exclusive teachings lead to the same God, is not their God the contradiction? Does God contradict himself and have messages adapted to the taste of each believer that can be opposites according to each person? When messages are adapted to be accepted, we speak of syncretism, and if we speak of syncretism, we speak of lies and business, of clients and sellers, and never of a just message. If the just message is modified to please the one who pays, it ceases to be a just message. That is why Babylon is called a harlot, for she sells her messages, her flatteries, and lies. Deuteronomy 4 verses 15 to 19, clarified summary: do not make images or figures, of man, woman, animals, birds, reptiles, or fish, to bow down to them or serve them. Neither lift up your eyes unto heaven to worship the sun, the moon, the stars, or the host of heaven. The bronze serpent that Moses made by God's commission was special because the people who looked at it were healed. Numbers 21:7-9. But with God's blessing it was destroyed by King Hezekiah because the people had begun to worship the statue of the serpent and also the statue of a woman. 2 Kings 18 verses 1 to 7. Today we see the image of the moon, the serpent, and the woman being worshipped in a single idol. And who guides the people to these sinful practices? Babylon. The one who showed from the beginning the disrespect for the laws of God, therefore, she adulterated messages to thus deny the eye for an eye. Death says, with deceptions I, death, entered the world, and with deceptions I have millions kneeling before my symbol and, thus, before sin that I make them say they will commit now and at the hour, when I take them away. Death says, I sin against God and will continue to sin against God until I die, with, our sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. The serpent says, you thought that here you were stepping on me, but here you are my prey, kneeling, you worship me. I, the serpent, deceived you with my cunning, as I deceived my prey from the beginning. Daniel 12 verse 1. At that time Michael, the great prince who stands guard over your people, will arise. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until that time. But at that time your people, everyone whose name is found written in the book, will be delivered. Death says, I sin against God and will continue to sin against God until I die, with, our sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Revelation 20 verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. 15. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Psalms 118 verse 17. I shall not die, but live, and declare the works of Jah. 18. Jah hath chastened me sore, but he hath not given me over unto death. 19. Open to me the gates of righteousness, I will go into them, and I will praise Jah. 20. This is the gate of Jehovah, into which the righteous shall enter. 21. I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me, and art become my salvation. 22. The stone which the builders refused is become the head stone of the corner. 23. This is Jehovah's doing, it is marvelous in our eyes.